If you've never played any Zelda game before, you probably would have guessed that this dude on the cover was Zelda. But it turns out his name is actually Link. This is Zelda. So people will get confused between the two and even question why was it even named The Legend of Zelda if Link was always front and center. Well, it turns out that there's actually more to this than people originally thought. You see, back in 1986, when it was first released in Japan, the game actually had a different name, the Hyrule Fantasy Zelda no Densetsu, with the Hyrule Fantasy being the intended franchise name. Now, admittedly, that would have sounded less confusing since future titles wouldn't have Zelda in the name, but Nintendo of America probably thought that The Legend of Zelda just sounded way cooler. Not only that, but among the 6 million people that played the very first game, maybe didn't even realize who they were actually playing as. So imagine that one classic JRPG you adored in the past, where the hero's name wasn't revealed until you reached the screen like this. But instead of having a default name, it just remained blank. You'd probably think, oh, I guess it doesn't have a name, eh? Well, every Zelda player back then would have seen a screen just like that. Now sure, the game does mention Link in the opening scene, I just want that quarter right there. But if there is like no default name and it kind of just remains empty, wouldn't you kind of assume that, However, this was actually something intentional, as future installments continue allowing players to input a personalized name for Link, as Miyamoto actually wanted to reinforce players feeling like they were themselves Link, that they will go on to experience their very own heroic tale, forming a strong link between the player and the game. So while Link has an official name, the game still encouraged players to put whatever they wanted, until Breath of the Wild. That being said, I still think there will always be newcomers that end up calling Link Zelda, and that's okay, because that will, ironically, nostalgically, be a constant link to the past and future for years to come.